known as the Jazzy Blues Singer.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jewel Brown, and thanks to my brother Theodore, I'm known as the Jazzy Blues Singer from starting in Houston, Texas. And went on from there to, oh, let's see, California with the Earl Grant. And, but before going there, rather, uh, with some of the musicians like Hubert Laws here and Don Wilkerson, who was known as the Texas Twister, uh, Arnett Cobb, one of the greatest saxophonists ever, not just Houston, but ever.
How you started?
And
How you started? How you started?
I got started when I was actually 9 years old. And at 9 years old, I had actually I had prayed for the Lord to bless me in a way I could help my mom and dad. And that very next day, things started to happen. There was Lonnie Roshan and Tromy Kane announcing on the radio, which at that time was KYOK, and they had said that they were having this talent show at the Masonic Hall in our fourth ward. And I went there, and for 9 weeks straight, I won the talent show and got that $25. At that time, my father wasn't even making $53 a week. And so $25 surely helped the household. And as a matter of fact, my mom was only making about $11.88 a week. So you know what $25 was able to do. And it went on from there. And as I was doing the blues from people like Milton Larkins and oh, that doggone Linda Hopkins was singing "I'm Lonesome and Blue" and all the blues singers and all. And from there, uh, after a while, my brother said to me, "Jewel, you got to do more than just the blues. Uh, you don't want to miss no gigs. So learn some of everything." And that I did do, including a little country. So I went on from there. And as I said, things got to working pretty good around here and left and went to California. And after I got to California, I worked with Earl Grant, as I said. From there, I started to become noted by different musicians who wanted me to work with them and all. And my greatest break came when I was in Dallas working for Jack Ruby. And we had kind of fallen out over a little old $100 bill. It was a big $100 bill to me, but I'm just saying to him, it's a little old $100 bill because he had the kind of sort of the biggest nightclub, and he had a it was like a jazz nightclub in downtown, and on the outskirts of town he had the blues club that his sister was running. And I would work both of them, and he didn't want to use the name Jewel when I'd go and work the blues nightclub. He gave me a name, Peggy. So I didn't care. I was getting paid double. I was getting paid with him and then getting paid, from the place that his sister was running. And after we sort of fell out, I was working the Chalet Club for Mr. Jeffries. And it's called the Chalet Club in Dallas. And both Tony Zappi, who was over the Dallas Morning News, who kept me in the newspaper every day in his column, and Mr. Tony Papa, who was over Associated Booking Corporation for Mr. Joe Glazer, uh, uh, happened to have told Mr. Glazer about me in New York. And he flew down uh, to hear just one show. And after that one show, I was doing 2 shows a night there. And after that first show, he flew right on back to New York. And I didn't know at that time that Velma Middleton, Mr. Armstrong's longtime singer, had passed on in Africa. And so what happened, he called me like about 2 weeks later. And he said, Jewel Brown? I said, yes. He said, this is Joe Glazer here in New York City. And I want to let you know, if we put a singer with Mr. Armstrong, it will be you. And I said, okay. I say, well, I hope you let me know in advance, because I'll need to go to Houston and do some things before, leaving out on the road for any extended period. He called me one day at 12 o'clock and told me at 3 o'clock my flight was in Houston. Now, a lot of people that don't live in this area don't know, but it normally takes from 3 to 4 hours to drive. And it didn't have the freeways back then that it have now. But believe it or not, I made that 3 o'clock flight. And so happened all the guys that worked at the airport knew me. And as soon as I got to the airport, I started hollering out to the guys, y'all don't let that 3 o'clock flight to New York get away from me. I got to be on it. And one of the guys, we called him Harry Hippie, he said, don't worry about it, I got you. They took my luggage and me, not through the terminal, but outside. And back then, they didn't have snorkels. They had stairs. And he took me out across the airfield and got me on that plane. As a matter of fact, they was about to pull the stairs away. They said, oh, no, put them back. And they walked me up the stairs. And when I sat down on that plane, I went straight to sleep, still holding my stuff. And they woke me up and said, Miss Brown, you're here. And I woke up and I said, oh. When I got off that plane, my feet never touched the New York ground. The charter bus with Louis Armstrong and all the guys was on it, and my feet went from the stairs of the plane to the stairs of the bus. And the first night's gig after we got there was in Framingham, Massachusetts for George Wein, and that was the start of it all. So it was a fantastic run of almost 8 years, not quite. Mr. Armstrong, his health kind of failed and so forth. So I never will forget that I got a kind of a jiggle out of it, because I saw him on Johnny Carson's show after he had gotten out of the hospital. And Johnny asked him, say, well, Mr. Armstrong, what happened? He said, well, the doctor said I had very close veins. I got a good laugh out of that. I knew that was possible, but for him to put it like that over international television, he had very close veins instead of very close veins. So anyway, from there, I went on to do the Nevada circuit and headlining the show at the Sahara and different places and all like that. And getting a chance to, at that time, be with a lot of different musicians that I was very pleased to work with and so forth. And the good thing, and I think the blessed thing, was when I had got a chance to work with Joe Sample. And as we were rehearsing, he said to me, Jewel, we got to record together. I said, oh. I said, well, you just say when. And he said to me, I got to do India.Arie and finish her album. And when I do, he said, and that's when we're going to start putting something together where we can go in. I said, well, fine with me. And after that, what happened was we had a gig together. I believe it was downtown Houston. And he really kind of sanctioned it then. And the last thing that he's ever done that I got a chance to do it with him was at the Opera House in Galveston, which is just outside of Houston, about 50 miles, And that kind of made his musical director, his assistant musical director, and his ghostwriter, Mr. Nicholas Allen, that kind of pulled us together to be able to communicate with each other. And we wound up doing some things, a gig, I think it was. And then after doing that gig together, I believe that sort of brought us a little closer. And when COVID hit, I wondered what in the world I was going to do, because things had gotten scarce and work wasn't coming in, and I had things to do and keeping up a house that I've been in for 69 years and so forth. And I just really kind of prayed, Lord, what do I do? I mean, things are getting slim here. And something just told me to write. And some things I gave Mr. Allen as far as titles, and he ran away with it. But then when he gets stuck, he said, hey, I'm stuck. What do I put here? And, we'd work it out together. So now we just have formed a teamwork kind of process here. We work it out together. I call everything I write ideas. So I say, when I text him and send it to him, I say, here's another idea for you to go over, And so now we just have a out and out partnership, I guess you might say that is now. And I'm like, he's like a musically son, and I'm like motherly son, motherly mother to him, So we kind of enjoy what we do together, and I believe it turned out pretty good and pretty respectful as well, which I think is a good thing.
The project. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a pretty good project. We want to work on another one, but we got to wait on money. It ain't funny without the money, so we got to, we've already put something together, but it's just, it takes a little time and a little more money. We already put the effort in it. And as a matter of fact, I think he's got some surprises for me, because when I send him some things, he say, oh, I'm finna write on this right now. So what it is, I guess it'll all be a surprise. And that's sort of what he is to me, a surprise when we get into the studio and stuff and start to work things out. Uh-huh.
Talk about your favorite song on the album.
Well, one evening, he had come over and we were working some things out. And Nick said to me, as he was packing his little things together, he was in the kitchen at the kitchen table. And he said to me, I got a piece of music here, and I don't really know what to do with it. And, he's the technologist, I say, well, before you pack it all up, play it. And he played it. So when he played it, I just immediately start just singing something to it without any thought, just singing something to it. And that happened to be the one that we wrote, On the Road. And he liked it, and I didn't know until about, a year later or whatever. He said, do you remember this? And it was with him and his technology, he had recorded the very first thing that we had ever done on the road. And so that right there, it seemed like, it appears to me, to just honestly be able to say that it's a blessing from the master, that I believe I've helped him in my way, and he's absolutely helped me in his way. And what he's done actually, and I won't say it because he put it there, and it is the truth. I got to say so. He said, some of this stuff you writing, is a little antiquated. That's why I got to put a little curve to it. I say, well, I don't care whatever you do, as long as it fit. And so when I send him things, I'm really sending it as ideas. So what we do, we've mixed my old and his new trend together, and that's what we've come up with in Thanks for Good Old Music and Memories. So he's got the music of the day, and I got the memories of the music of the yesteryear, and that's how we come up with what we got. And I think that nobody else is doing what we're doing on this album. I think it's all brand new, and some of the musical people that have listened to it that are qualified to make a statement on it, they have actually said that everything you're doing here is totally fresh, like hadn't been done by anybody else. It's not. I'm not copying anybody else. He's not copying anybody else's music. As a matter of fact, one day I asked him, "Have you heard so and so?" He said, "No, I don't listen." He said, "Because I don't want anything any other music to disturb my ideas." I said, "Okay, I can understand it." So that's more or less how this has worked out into what we've been able to put together.
Do you have any musical friends like Sarah Vaughan and Arnett Cobb? Musical friends.
I just thank goodness that I've learned so much in my years, starting with when I worked a very prominent, legendary club here called the El Dorado. There was a lady by the name of Caldonia who was a comedian, and I had been hired there 12 years old to open the show. When I come off, she said to me, "They told me that an amateur was going to open the show." She said, "You ain't no amateur, you are a professional, you know?" And so that kind of inspired me a bit and made me feel a little more confident in what I had to, what I was about to challenge and have to do. And then I started to uh, get with different musicians that, even though I never just really played an instrument, my ear was so keen and I could hear when they were playing a bad note. And I tell them, "Hey, that spot right there, the so and so and so, that's a bad note right there." And they'd listen back there and they say, "Well, how did you know that?" I say, my ears heard it. It hurt my ear. So that's kind of the way that has gone, you know. And I just think, how did you put that?
The
The musicians, Nick was saying, the musicians that I've been with, I, I just think about Donald Wilkerson, who I had in my band, and Ray Charles came here and took him away from me. And then I just think about all the musicians that have come out of Houston, like Al Gray, who played with groups like Count and Duke and all. He played trombone. And I just think about Illinois Jack Hay, who came right from here out of Houston, that lived around the corner from me on Drew Street. No, it wasn't. It was Dennis. Dennis is right after Drew Street. There's been so many fine musicians that never did actually get that chance to give out, exploit all that they really were. You know, I think about Hubert Laws before he did get a chance to get out there. I don't know. It's just so many musicians that were just absolutely great musicians, and I learned from them all, and I learned from all their comments.
What's the best advice?
Huh?
What's the best advice you got from a musician?
Uh, uh, to be honest, as far as advice from musicians, uh, believe it or not, it astonished me that they all seem to have loved to work with me, even though all I was doing was going fishing, trying, trying to put things together. But still to this day, before I went into this new version of my career with Mr. Allen, uh, all the musicians would always come to me, Jewel, this was so great to work with you. I enjoyed working with you and so forth. But I'm just a person that I just love to give all I got. I love to make sure that I've been true to the gift that I've been given, because I do feel like it's been a gift. I prayed for it and I got it, and I try to do right by it. Uh, I've always not cared anything to do anything that would hinder me from putting my best in it. You know, that's why when they asked me, uh, Jewel, what do you have to say to the young people coming up? I always say, I just wish for them that they'd have a strong background. I wish that they'd have strong parentage, whatever, behind them to give them a lot of confidence in themselves and to um, more or less uh, focus more on where they want to go in life than what can hinder and what you call snatch everything that they have to offer and give. Um, we're living in a very weird society, and it can be a hurting society. But I say to all of them, be strong, be focused on who you want to be, what you want to be, and where you want to go in this life. And I believe strongly in the master and the master's plan. And I want to do whatever's planned for me and whatever my purpose is. I want to be the best I can be at it, the best I can be, not somebody else. I want to be the best I can be. And I put forth all the effort that I can into that. And I'm very thankful for Nick that he's put me into a groove that is not exactly all my old school, but freshened it up into what is fresh for today. And it seemed like it's been good and doing good, and and I hope that it'll pay off. It act like it wants to, and so that's about the real deal of just how things is going on for about right now.
Um, do you have musical advice for and do you have audience advice? Like tell the audience about your album.
Any audience advice?
Meaning that, tell them go how you want them to come to perceive your album.
Okay, now in perceiving my CD, no matter whether it's funky or sweet or however you want to think of it, I always try to write truth. As a matter of fact, the one of the people in Florida was speaking three-way with Nick and myself, and she asked me, she said, Miss Brown, how do you write like you do? I said one simple word to her: life, because that's what I'm writing about, life. And then the gentleman in California asked me, how far do you want to go with this? I say, wherever the Lord allow. Nobody knows the day that for how long they're going to be here, or the day they're going to be called in. Nobody knows that. So And the whole world is a stage, and we're just all playing a part. And some play a part for a short while, some play some for a long while. I was at an elder meeting that I like to go to here in my city, at the Shape Community Center. And there was Mr. Thomas Freeman's wife, Miss Clarice Freeman. I mean, just as sturdy as I don't know what, you wouldn't believe it, at 102, and in August will be 103. So, life is what you make it. Uh, and a body, he said, you are what you eat, think, and believe. And we need to try to live a quality life with speaking of that. And you as I tell people, you eat for your body and you taste your desires. That's them things that you got used to that ain't no good for you. But as age creep upon you, it's like he turned us loose around the age of 30, where he want to make sure that you learn for yourself to know how to take care of yourself. So it's one of them things wherein you kind of go by what you learn and need to know in taking care of yourself, meaning trying to have a quality life, especially with your eating and your believing. I had a very strong parentage. I had very strong parentage, and I'm so grateful for it, because, as a matter of fact, that's what's kept me all through my 77 years in this business. And I'm quite grateful for all the teaching and the learning and the Father helping me accept all they had to teach and tell me. And I'm thankful, because at 85 and August being turning 86, I mean, it's hard for people to believe where I stand in life. But I'm grateful, and I hardly think of it, because the stage has no age anyway. And so we just do the best we can do to do the best we can. While we can, when we can, if we can, however we can, for as long as we can, for who we can, as long as the good Lord say we can. That's about the size of it now. So I'm gonna go as long as He allow. And there's some that's been way noted than me, have gone way earlier than me. So we just gonna have fun while we're here, do all we can while we're here. And while I'm mobile, I'm gonna move around and go and do all I can. And that's just about the size of that. And I'm gonna say to everybody out there, be blessed. I hope you enjoyed the music that Nicholas Allen and I have put out there. And please enjoy it to the fullest. I've tried, and he's tried. So we've tried our best. Do enjoy. Be blessed. Bye-bye.